Hi, Glenn Crouter here. Thank you very much for listening to Head for the Hills, all brought to you by our good friends at eWool. They have a product that nobody else, believe me. And we're going to do local stuff and destination this entire season. We are so looking forward to it, and I'm so looking forward to talking to you over the next 5 months. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the show.
An original
from Story Studio Network.
Well, we're back. Hello. How are you now? Feels like the last time we talked to you was cold and blustery. We're back to being cold and blustery. Dave Trafford here, Glenn Crouter, and this is Head for the Hills. How are you, pal?
I'm tremendous. How are you, Dave?
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm excited to get this going again. For those of you just joining us, there are 6 epic episodes already in the can here. So if you're listening to the show on Apple or Google or wherever you find your podcasts, go back and listen to the shows we did last winter, particularly that show with Nancy Green.
That was good.
She was so cool, right? Yeah. To be able to talk to her, and she's unvarnished in her assessment of how things are going as far as the sporting world is concerned. And it was great. And you're able to kind of pull A-list guests, so I'm thrilled that you're able to. Yeah,
no, she's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. And we had Brian Stemmel on, downhill skier, and all sorts. Now we've got Robert Huter, one of the biggest owners in Canada for ski resorts and things like that. So we're going to have a bunch of A-list this year for sure. And I've got a lot of traveling to do, Dave, coming up. We got Mount Tremblant next week, the Eastern Townships. After that, going to be heading to Quebec City and do all the big 3 there, Stoneham, Mount St. Anne, and also Le Massif. So that'll be 3 really good ones there. And then after that, be BC for Fernie and Panorama. Then off to Austria. That's confirmed. We're heading to Austria, and that's right in Robert Huter's background. It's his home country. So we're really looking forward to a great bunch of shows coming up and some wonderful traveling as well.
Well, I've already got guys in my inbox saying, I'm glad to know that Glenn's back, and they're looking for your recommendations every week in terms of where to ski. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be on site, but I know you've got your finger on the pulse.
Absolutely.
We need to also welcome back our friends at eWool who have jumped on board the show again.
We're delighted, and we've talked about this before, Dave, that they are leaders in the industry. There's a bunch of other kind of smaller companies, but when it comes to eWool, they have the absolute best. I don't know if you had a chance to try out a vest, but I've got the vest and I've just got the socks. So we haven't been cold enough yet to use the socks, but looking forward to it. It's a brand new product this year. And also the heated liners in your gloves. Like, they are literally industry leaders, and they've got the best by far than anybody else. So I highly recommend it if you're a person that gets cold in the hills. Not so much right now, but certainly by the time we click into real winter, you'll really appreciate the fact that eWool is going to be by your side and keep you warm as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's not just the skiers out there, it's the snowmobilers, it's the ice fishing, all of that kind of stuff. Even playing hockey out on the lake, maybe. It's one of those things that you're going to take full advantage of.
Absolutely. I have a friend, she's into equestrian riding. She wears her vest all the time because it's cold on the horse. They don't ride just specifically in the summertime. She also rides in the winter outside. So the eWool. And what's really cool about it? The fact is the old jackets, and I know Robert Hughes is waiting for us here, but the old jackets, they're really puffy, like the Michelin Man, like the really heavy jackets, and then you put a bunch of layers underneath. That just bulks you up, and it's not easy to ski. And also kind of it's a variant of the heat as well. But when you have the eWool on, you just need a simple underneath, a nice, I'm not going to say an undershirt, but a turtleneck, a thick turtleneck, and then the eWool jacket, and that's it.
So did I hear you say eWool is going to make me a better skier? Is that what you're telling me? It's a long way to go, I'm telling you.
Let gravity take you over, Dave. That's all you do. Just point your skis down and let it go.
Downhill from here. All right, eWool.com.
This
is SSN.
Well, indeed, and it's nice to see that the resorts are getting all excited about full seasons this year, Glenn, because the last 2 years, well, actually the last 3 years on radio, on the podcast, everybody was stretching and doing what they could just to get through the season vis-a-vis COVID. Nice to have that in the rearview mirror, and some good news with the local and the regional resorts, certainly here in Ontario.
Absolutely. Finally, we're getting up and running, and I had the treat of skiing just last month, the end of last month at Mount St. Louis Moonstone. The leaders of the industry, I can say that, and everybody across the industry agrees about snowmaking, their ability to keep probably open before anybody else, and they were the first to open back in November, and probably one of the last to close as well because of the snowmaking. The investment, it's not just about snowmaking, it's the technology as well. It's a family-run operation with Andre Huter out on the hills. He's got the rate down. You got Robert inside as well, his wife Sarah, and also Mom Frida. So it's really a family operation, and they've got it down pat, and literally people come from around the world to see their operation. That's how big they are.
Well, and it's kind of, I think we probably take that for granted in this part of the world. We think of ourselves as being a place where we would go somewhere else to go skiing. And when you put it in that terms, this is a destination. It's, and I won't say it's cheap and cheerful, but it's local. And it's one of the things where you can get as good an experience, within an hour's drive of Toronto as you could anywhere else.
Easily. And it's just Mount St. Louis Moonstone is just about 50 minutes north of Barrie off the 400. Easily, you just drive right by it. You can see the hills right there on the left-hand side. And you're absolutely right, Dave. And I've always said, if you learn to ski in Ontario, if you can ski in Ontario, you can ski anywhere in the world. We've got some incredible conditions, wacky weather up and down. It's all over the map. But I'll tell you what, the most consistent snow is at Mount St. Louis Moonstone. You can always rely on it. When others are ice, when others don't have much snow, you can always rely on the fact that it is the best skiing you're going to find anywhere in the province.
So Robert is joining us now, and Glenn had set you up saying you're the one that stays indoors. Was that, did you win the prize? Is that what happens?
Glenn is always, the first one on the hill. He shows up around 6:30, 6:45, and he comes in and he wants the inside scoop, and then he goes out to his mobile office and he spreads the gospel, the good news of the day. And it's always great to see Glenn early morning and early season as well. It's a great kickoff to the season.
So set me up in terms of how this is going to go. I mean, this is sort of almost like a reset, not just for you guys, but for the entire industry, certainly in this part of the world where we had closures because of COVID. A lot of these resorts are family-run businesses like yours. The fact of the matter is we've got issues that trying to stand this business back up. Is it more or less of a challenge than I might think?
Last season was, for a lot of resorts, it was one of their best winters ever. And, yes, we had some restrictions as far as inside operations, but outside, people were just so happy to get outside, do some turns, even if it was just for a couple hours. They were just, so thrilled to get out. And plus, people were not traveling. So we had a very strong season, and hopefully we can keep that momentum going into this year, as long as Mother Nature cooperates. But we're going to put our best foot forward, and hopefully we can put in 120 days this upcoming year.
Robert, when you take a look at your season, there's no question, because of your snowmaking, because of everything you've got, the entire operation. I ride that lift all the time, as you know, and people are always saying, this is the best skiing you're going to find anywhere. And it is so true. And again, I've mentioned before, others may be lacking in snowmaking and the ability, since the fact we're in a global economy or a global warming here, that you're always ahead of the curve. You've spent enough money, Robert. Is there ever a point where you say, okay, enough is enough, or you guys just keep on going?
Well, we're keeping on going, and as you know, everything gets a little older, and it needs TLC, and it needs, and then newer stuff comes along, and we want to stay on top of the curve and have the best of the best to provide for our skiers.
When you take a look at other, I know you and your family, you travel a lot. When you take a look at other resorts, do you take anything away from there? I know they come to see you. Is it kind of vice versa as far as knowledge sharing?
Growing up as a small child, we would always go on a family vacation, and we would always pick areas that had done some major development, and we'd go and see what they were doing, and we'd try and come back with one or two little ideas how we could implement them into our little operation. And in the last 50 years, our little operation has grown to become quite a monster. And I know Dad's still up there looking down, and he's smiling, and I think he would be very happy in what we're doing right now.
There's no question about it, and it's very competitive. And you know what I really like, Robert? Is I call you guys the big three between Snow Valley, Horseshoe Valley, Mount St. Louis, Moonstone. I know it's kind of a competition as well, but I also you're friends and you share information and you share statistics, and I think that's really fantastic because not only is it great for you guys, but also it's great for the skier as well because any type of competition is very healthy, as well as the fact that you're sharing information that maybe make the other resort a little bit better.
Absolutely. I mean, if the industry's healthy, if everyone's strong, it's only going to have, the consumer's going to have a better experience. And as an industry, I think compared to other industries, we all, we can pick up the phone. If we've got a challenge, someone will help us with that challenge and give us a direction if they've experienced it before and make it a little bit easier for each other and move forward.
Robert, what I was really impressed with is the fact that your food has always been very good, but you're stepping it up a notch this year, something that's pretty well unheard of in this country. I know that the company that you're involved with is pretty cool. Tell us a little bit about the company and why you decided to get involved with a super elite catering company.
So we've partnered with Sodexo Live, and they're a large food company. They have been doing business in the United States at a number of ski resorts. Locally, a lot of people would know them from they run the food business in the Hamilton Ticat at Tim Hortons Stadium. And so we felt that we need to step our food business up a little bit, have a little more variety. And we've partnered with them, and we think this is going to be a long-term relationship, and we hope it's going to take us to the next step. They have got already all kinds of ideas that they want to fulfill in the next 5 years, and that goes along with our operational model here that we always want to improve, make it better for the consumer when they come for the next trip.
Is it because of, Robert, you're seeing new Canadians come in? Because I do see some new things on the menu.
Absolutely. I mean, we're, the new Canadians are now representing probably 60% of our market share, and that market share is only going to increase as time goes on.
Tell us a little bit about the menu. So I usually have your delicious lasagna there because I know Chef Hubert makes an amazing special of the day, but I did see some other things that were really interesting.
Yeah, so now we're going to have ramen on the menu, and I experienced it last weekend when we were open, and I very much enjoyed it. I know on those cold days I'm going to definitely partake in that menu more often.
You've got the usual pizzas and hot dogs and hamburgers, but also I was impressed with you have something from Austria, and that's your home country, so to speak, and Hungarian as well.
Yeah, we have our schnitzel, and we have our own chili that is our own recipe that we've had for as long as I can remember. So, and it's an evolution. It'll continue to change as the clientele changes.
Robert, just as we wind up here, just a quick note: looking for the future here. How do you see this season rolling out?
Well, it's funny. Yesterday, I was listening to the Weather Network's forecast for the winter, and they're calling for a snowy, cold December, which is going to be very good to get us out of the box and have a strong Christmas. And then January, February, we're going to have some warm and cooler temperatures, which we're going to have a good base on the hills. So hopefully we can get into early April. We get 120 days under the belt. The phones are ringing. We've had a very positive season's pass sale. We've stopped selling passes in mid-October so that we can still sell day lift tickets. So all signs are pointing to a positive winter. Now the pressure's on us to perform.
Just before you go, you had me at the Nathan's foot long, by the way, on your
yes.
On your menu.
I loved it. I had it it before. It's fantastic.
One of the things you guys had to do in the past couple of years is any service that you provided, like food, et cetera, would have to be outside the central building. I'm assuming that there's indoor eating and dining now, and this is somewhat back to normal.
So this year we're full 100% capacity inside the buildings. There's no restrictions at all. So the challenge now is to get enough staff to run all those departments, and we're plugging along. I'm going to say we're going to be able to do it, but it's a challenge. And like any business, we all have challenges. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
The other thing, and I think Glenn and I talked a lot about this last year, where the resorts, in order to deal with protocols and COVID, there was pre-booking for your lift tickets, and that might be one of those things that turns into a benefit, where it became hey, this is not a bad thing to do. Are you going to continue with that as well?
100%. I mean, we're going to try and push people to online sales, so then that will hopefully help us have a better handle on how many people are coming, and we can staff appropriately, and takes one step out of the guests, because we have an RFID ticket that the person can get the ticket, reload it, and go directly to the ski lift, so they don't have to go to the guest service or a ticket window. So it speeds the whole process up and hopefully makes a better experience.
And I'll just make one quick comment, Robert, for people heading out. It's cashless. I made the mistake. I walked up to the teller a couple of weeks ago, was going to pay, and the lady said, no cash. So, and I know your wife, Sarah, said to me earlier, we're going cashless. So idiot me goes up to the thing and says, has got my $20. So just to let people know, make sure you've got your cards with you when you go skiing. It's safe. It's a great way to buy food, buy drink, and to buy whatever else you need. So again, congratulations on the cashless part.
Thank you.
Robert, thanks for joining us. It's great of you to be here to kick off the new season. We hope your season's a success.
Well, hopefully we can all have a race later in this winter, and last one down buys the beers.
I'll tell you what. You guys race, I'll commentate. How's that? Does that work? All right.
I can tell you who's going to win. It won't be me.
Glenn, you have a great week. We'll talk to you next week on Head for the Hills.
Great. Thanks a lot, Dave. Thank you, Robert.
Bye now.
Our technical producer and audio editor for Head for the Hills is Mike Trutler. Our production manager is Jamie Nickerson. Our executive producer is Aaron Trafford. And our sonic logo designer is Greg McDonald. I'm Dave Trafford. Thanks for listening.
This
is SSN.